Okay, this is a video about I'm trying to figure out how to hook up the carburetor linkage. So here's from the throttle. You see it's got a circle. And while I'm here, this is the brake booster. According to my manual, this is a charcoal filter, but I think it's also a vacuum to keep the vacuum from being released. Trying to find that part is impossible. Anyway, so this is the 76 linkage. I know it's stock. You go to this car over here, which is a 74, and it's a whole different setup. In fact, this is broken right here, but anyway, that's. So I guess the point I'm making, if you're in the same boat as me, make sure you get the right cable, and I'll show you the difference on the carburetor. I'm doing this handheld because I don't know how else to do it. And also, the transmission, it's got a, this is the kickdown for the transmission. So I'm wondering, how does this hook on? Again, I never saw it hooked up, but let's see if I can. I'll put the camera on a stand. So this is what I found out. This is the kickdown. How does it hook to the carburetor? Again, I never saw it hooked. Can't find a good picture, but so I brought my carburetor, a 76. I know this is a 76 carburetor. I know this is a 76 transmission. So that bigger slot on the end fits over, and that's it. Now I gotta move the camera. So for the throttle linkage, let me get this piece out of my pocket. I took this off the old carburetor parts I had. Just like that. So, I don't know if you can see this. This is going to slip on the inside. That fits right on there. And then this clip, which I can't do like this, goes on and holds it. Now there's some other places you could hook up something else, like here you could probably put one of those ball joints that I was showing you for the 74. But that's the piece you need. Where you get it, I have no clue. I just happened to find it on the other carburetor. So I'll show you a few more things I learned. Let me just adjust this. So some of these carburetors have throttle positioners. So there's two types, and I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'll tell you what they do. So like this carburetor doesn't have one at all, but it's got the holes. It's got the holes to put it in. So if you have air conditioning, the wire would go from the air conditioning to here, and it would give it a little more gas, so it wouldn't stall out on idle. And there's also another one, and I haven't pinned it down yet. That if you ever had a car that idles when you turn it off, it'll push a valve out and close the throttle plates or the accelerator pump. Let's see. I'm thinking about this. We pull it. Anyway, the idea is, I'm not sure what it is, but maybe it either allows it to close further, or for air conditioning it speeds it up. Now this power valve here, we can see it. So I'll push it. That is, if you step on it, I used to have a Roadrunner when I was a kid, and I'd punch it and it would hesitate and pop, and then it would get going. So now that I'm older, retired, and I have more time, this squirts extra gas in when you're if you step on it, all of a sudden that'll like squirt the gas in. So it shouldn't hesitate, and it should just go. So that's what that is. Also, I found out there's supposed to be a filter inside here, an inline filter. I just haven't took mine apart. This is an old carburetor. This is an air horn. I'm not sure where it goes, but it might go into the float, because you need air. So again, looking at this linkage here, going back to linkage, and linkage here, they're pretty much the same, except somebody added a nut and a bolt on here, where it probably would be a ball joint. Let's see, I have one more carburetor. Let me see if I can find the linkage on this one. If there is. Hang on, I'm going through my box. Somebody has removed the linkage off this one. So I can't, I'm over here. But you know what I just found? I found an electric choke in this box. The problem is, I'm going to put electric choke on this carburetor. You see this fitting? It's a weird fitting that you'd have to have the right plug-in. So where this choke came from, I don't know. A couple more things I learned. Again, I've just been trying to figure all this out. So there's three kinds of vacuum. You hear these terms: manifold vacuum, ported vacuum, and Venturi vacuum. So manifold vacuum means it's before these plates. This is the throttle on the bottom. These are the choke on top. You can see it's clicking down here. And this is also going to the choke. So these are choke plates. These are throttle plates. So manifold vacuum means you're getting the vacuum before you get to above the throttle plates. So right here, the throttle plates are closed. You're going to have full vacuum, like for the brake booster. Back out a little bit. Maybe I'm screwing this up. I'm just going to do it again because I don't want to reshoot this. So again, I don't know if it was in there. Manifold vacuum is below the throttle plates. So you're always going to have full vacuum of whatever your engine's putting out. And vacuum is created because the pistons go down, creates low pressure. Low pressure is vacuum. So up here on top, is, well, again, I don't know exactly what is what, and the way to find out where does that go, squirt something in here, like carburetor cleaner, see where it comes out. If that, this one I'm talking about, if that came out down here, that would mean it's manifold vacuum, which means it would have full vacuum. Ported vacuum means when you open these up, let's see if I can see in here. There's going to be some holes in here somewhere, and I can't see where. So ported means as soon as you give it some throttle, it's like a switched vacuum. In other words, the switch is the gas pedal. So you open that, it's going to allow one of these vacuum holes to suck a certain amount of vacuum depending on where this is, if that makes sense. So, and Venturi vacuum, Venturi is, well, you have to look it up, but Venturi is something, air gets sucked down and it speeds up. So when this is all the way open, you're going to get a Venturi effect, and it's going to speed up the air. So anyway, I don't totally understand Venturi vacuum, because I know the more, when you open your plates all the way up, your vacuum goes down because the air pressure equalizes. So I think the Venturi is to speed up the air to create a vacuum. Again, the best way to test this, if it was on the car, and I could keep it running, I would just plug up all the vacuum and then put a vacuum gauge on it, see what the vacuum is. So if you're at idle, for instance, in manifold vacuum, you're going to have full vacuum. But if you come up to some of these higher ports like this one and put the vacuum gauge on it, see what it is at idle, then give it throttle, and see what vacuum you're getting. So that's how you check vacuum. And that's what vacuum is. The question, what's bringing me to all this is, and why I'm explaining it, and again, a lot of this is for me so I don't forget if I ever go back. Let me just go around here. Why are these here? I mean, where are they going? It's not really, again, I got a 72 manifold, but I don't have a 72 service manual. What is the purpose of this? So it could be that, I'll bring this carburetor over. Again, I'm just talking, just to give people ideas. It could be, for example, one of these could go up to here, and then you'd have manifold vacuum up here. Do you need that? I don't know. But if you look at the carburetor, for instance, and we flip it over, that is manifold vacuum, manifold vacuum, manifold vacuum. But then you have this one, which is up high. This is probably going to be a ported vacuum. You turn it this way, there's no vacuums there. Turn it here, there's this high one up here. Chances are that is ported vacuum. But I don't know unless I squirt some gas in here and see what it's doing or where it's leading. In other words, it could be coming out in the middle of the carburetor, or it could be coming out at the bottom. So anyway, and then this thing here, if you can see it, I think I've talked about this in another video. It's called like, I think it's called a TVC or TVV or something like that. This is broken off. And I cannot find one of these anywhere. But so looking at this would have like, it was probably plastic. It had 2 or 3 ports, vacuum ports. And since it's, but this is not in the vacuum chamber, this is in the water chamber. So what this would do, I've read about it, when your engine is cold, the timing needs to be different than when it's warm. So what it would do is you'd have a vacuum lead going to here, but it would be closed because it was cold. And then it'd be going to the distributor. So there'd be 2 lines going to the distributor. As it warmed up, it would allow the distributor to get full vacuum. In other words, it's just a valve. This is just a thermostatic valve for vacuum. It works out temperature. Do you need all this stuff? If you're not going to be just, getting in your car and driving, just let your car warm up, and you don't need this this delayed vacuum or retarded vacuum. It's basically a retarded vacuum switch. The temperature is controlling the vacuum. It's a switch. It's getting in the way of full vacuum. So anyway, that's it. That's what I know about vacuum now. So right off the bat, we know that this is full vacuum because this is below the throttle plate. This is switched vacuum. This is manifold vacuum. Anything below that throttle plate is manifold vacuum. Now you don't want, for instance, you don't want full vacuum at idle because it would suck too much gas. So ported vacuum is basically idle vacuum. You only need a little bit of vacuum, so it's only going to pull a little bit of gas. So I'm pretty sure this goes right to the, this is just sucking a crankcase, the PCV, this is just taking out the crankcase vapors. So that probably just goes to there. This could have gone to air conditioning or something else. I don't know. I don't know yet. I really need to get this engine running to understand what, because I can't find any good diagrams, and I can't get the right parts. They're obsolete. So if you start looking at online, for instance, try to find this online. Go to eBay and look at a 76 car. Every one I've looked at, it's either broken like that, or they show the ports but they're not hooked up. Now, it won't matter if they're not hooked up because all that is a switch and there's no vacuum. Water's not going to squirt out because this is in a water jacket. But that should be plugged up. Those should be plugged up. Because any loss of vacuum here is going to affect your carburetor. And then as for this, I've figured out what this is. As this heats up, it would pull a lever down and pull the choke open or closed. So I can do away with this. So there is no holes in here. I'll have to verify that, but I can't. Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere. I can't get down there. So that's what that is. So I can just eliminate that. So that's what I learned. So now I'm just about ready to put this engine in the car. I just needed to figure all this stuff out. That I could just tighten this up and leave it here because there's no hole. It's not going to leak. And maybe I'll never use that retarded vacuum. This I just need to clean it up, or I could do it later. I think it's aluminum. And this I'll clean up. So I've been, and I got a distributor coming today just because I want to get this hole plugged up. So, again, if you watch my videos, it's me trying to figure out what is what, why does it work, how did the factory design it, why did they design it? And then I'm trying to find an air cleaner. I don't know if I showed you this. I had an air cleaner in a box. Let me just back up. Oh yeah, and then some of these other vacuum ports here, like here, do certain things, and you have to read. So there's 2 vacuum ports here, a vacuum port here. So those could go to the carburetor also, or to here. But basically, this has to do with letting hot air in, kind of to keep the warm air in. And this is called auto. It says auto therma AC. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is that AC, so it's probably, I don't know what AC means. But this is for a 2-barrel carb, so I can't use it. So that means I gotta find a 76. And trying to find one of these, you notice how it's indented here? I think it's because of the distributor. I'm not sure. Here's the distributor. But again, I'm not sure because I never had it together. Or maybe it's because of the linkage, I don't know. Anyway, things to think about if you're going to look for an air cleaner. And as far as I know, and I don't know anything about the ram scoop, and I don't have it down here, but I don't think the ram scoop on this year opens at all. I think it's just for looks. It doesn't do anything. The shaker, and the reason they call it shaker, right, is because it shakes when the car's running. So anyway, that's what I've learned. It's a bitch, but it's interesting. So I think I'll give you some visual guides of what I was just talking about. So here's that thermostatic vacuum switch. So you notice it's going to the distributor twice. Again, it's not showing a full line because somewhere it is a vacuum source. And it says HV here. I think that means high. I think that means high vacuum. But basically, this heats up. Either allows full vacuum or partial vacuum. It says right here, and then it says what a 4-second delay, and that gives it a 4-second delay, and it's supposed to improve cold drivability. But to me, if you punched it, you're going to have a delay. So anyway, that's that. Then if you go to this website right here, leakylugnut.com, he talks about the vacuum that I just explained, but here's the float circuit. You get the gas coming in, fills out your float bowl, float goes up, closes that. You notice the throttle is closed. Again, this is the throttle, the choke plates are up here. So comparing these two, at idle, and I'm going to say this is how you can find your ports, but this is a mixture. This is your screw. So high vacuum is sucking some fuel out with the plate closed. When you adjust your screw, it's going to give you more or less fuel at idle. So that's what. So again, that's why they're called idle mixture screws. And notice it says throttle plate closed. This is called a low speed circuit. So the throttle plate's starting to open. So you're getting the idle fuel, but it's also allowing some air to get sucked in above the throttle plate. So now you get two valves open. The throttle plate slightly open. Then you get the main metering circuit. When this throttle is way open, or that much open, and here's the venturis, it's just a restriction. It's restricting here and here, so there's primary venturis, secondary venturis. But anyway, now it's really sucking a lot of fuel, and it's got a metering rod, which you can change the metering rods to get more or less fuel. So what it says here, when the operator demands a moderate amount of throttle, the throttle plate opens further and there's enough airflow to create vacuum in the venturi and pull through the main jet and discharge tube. Fingers are so dry. I'll just read this first. When the operator demands wide open throttle, or WOT, the metering rod moves completely out of the way of the main jet. So the metering rod has no effect with wide open throttle to allow extra fuel to be pulled through the discharge tube. So they're calling that the discharge tube. So it's discharging out of the float bowl area. So can't turn these pages unless I can grab them. Now, when the operator opens the throttle quickly, the engine could run lean for a moment because the fuel is pulled through the main jet. So looking at these two pictures here, I don't totally understand that. To counteract this, we as well as provide instant throttle response, the accelerator pump, which is this, is going to force extra fuel. So you punch it, and like I said on my Roadrunner, it would bog down, and that was probably the problem. I didn't have a big enough accelerator pump. I didn't know it. And notice the choke is wide open. Now this is showing the choke circuit. When the engine is cold, the choke plate is closed to expose the discharge tube to manifold vacuum, which is the highest vacuum. So let's say that you are the engine's cold and you take off. So once you step on the gas, the throttle plate's going to open, but the plate is still not completely closed, but closed pretty good. So after saying that, when the engine is cold, the choke plate is closed, exposes the discharge tube to manifold vacuum and pulls fuel through it. If the throttle opened to the point that the engine needs more air than what can get past the choke plate is opened until the throttle plate is returned to a slightly open position. Again, these are things you have to play with when your engine is running, but that's how it works. Anyway, now I get it. Makes sense to me. It kind of explains a couple things about a metering rod. You know, if you want to get more fuel when you punch it, you're going to have to have a bigger, you're going to have a metering rod that allows more fuel. Well, a metering rod, I don't know if I said that. Yeah, well anyway, so you got the metering rod, you got the accelerator pump. That one definitely is important if you're trying to get power when you're gassing it. Anyway, that's how it works. I thought it was interesting. So you know, there's so much stuff to learn as I'm doing this. I'm keeping track. Here's my ID number. So the first number, Pontiac W is Trans Am. 8 is a 2-door coupe. Z is 400 4-barrel. 6 is 1976. N is Norwood plant, and then the 5 is V8, and then the production number. And then the things down below on the tags, if you look them up, basically it says that, I'm just going to try to read this. It's a 76 Pontiac, Norwood, blah blah. The trim package is TR. Trim codes, I didn't write it down, but A5 is bucket seats. 19L is lower body paint, whatever that means. Not lower body paint. Lower body paint. I guess it just means it's all black. Up high on the body. 19 is upper body paint. It was made in May, the second week. It's got power windows, 831. Trans Am WS4. BLK is black. Wrote down the carburetor number, wrote down the axle number. It was originally a PS means 2.41 ratio. Plant built G, I don't know what G is right now. 76. May 4th, second shift. Here's the intake manifold, it's a 72, I looked it up. There's 6 by heads, 75 to 79, April 1976. Again, here's my call tag. So I just make a note as I go. So here, look at this. It's 1976. It put out 170 horsepower. And the 455 put out 200. That's it. Here's the casting numbers. This is just some wiring diagram that I was figuring out. That's the block of the where the wires run to at the I can't think of the firewall. Then I started to make notes, like, you know, trying to look through all these books, because some books have some information, some don't. So now I'm writing like spark plugs. Look on supplemental manual C6D7. This is the starting circuit. I figured it all out. Now just going over some of the stuff that I was talking about. And yeah, it's called the TVV, that valve I was talking about. And then the PCV is coming out of the lower valley pan. And then I got all these books. So I hope my head wasn't in the way. I'll find out later. I just wanted to say something, add something onto this. This is kind of like building a house. You know, you get a set of plans, and you got to figure out what all these pictures mean, and you build it. And I think that's true for any job, machinist, anything. You really got to study and watch and figure things out if you want to make some money in your life. I made a couple of videos about how to be successful, and I'm not a real true mechanic, but I'm just trying to show this is what you got to do with anything you do in your life. Go for it all the way. Just try, and eventually you'll get it. When this is together, I'm going to understand this car completely. And that's how it was with houses. I built schools, huge schools, and there might be 300 pages of plans. And you're flipping, you can't put 300 pages on one page, so you're having to flip pages back and forth. And slowly you build this image in your head, and you're telling your guys out there, because most people don't want to be in charge. And I think I said this before, I don't want to be, I eventually worked up to a superintendent. It sucked. I like to work physically. I didn't know that until I got there, but I was old, and my body couldn't be the foreman anymore. But I guess I've gotten off track. Whatever you do, if you want to save money and if you want to make money, research, study, and try. That's what you got to do. There's some guy named Adam Booth. If you look him up, as a machinist, I like watching him. He worked with his dad, and his dad taught him. He's good. He's good, and he basically does the same thing I'm saying. If you watch him, he's just got it down with these machines. He just does it like it's nothing. That didn't happen overnight. It takes years. And some people just want to, let's say carpenters, some people just want to pound nails and pound walls together. And some people want to know, why is this wall going here, and what is going on top of this wall, and what's going on top of that wall, and how does this bolt in the foundation, or this hole down in the foundation, what does that have to do with the roof? And I'll go on another rant. There was a guy that did trim work, and that's kind of like a guy that all they do is nail holes in my opinion. They just nail walls together. Trim is the easiest thing in the world. You get the right tools. Everything's right in front of you. You don't really have to think way ahead. And he just kind of pissed me off, saying their framers were idiots. No, we were the guys that built the building so everybody else can go to work and have a place or at home, a place to sleep, and have a building to put their stuff in. The framers and the ironworkers, we build the world. Maybe that sounds kind of arrogant, but it's true. And then there's the mechanics. They keep us moving down the road, and the machinists, they give us all the parts for like this. I don't know. Well, all the parts that are on the engine are machined somehow. Anything metal is machined. Anyway, I'm just ranting. Whatever you do, try hard. Look at all these books I got here. I didn't buy them all at once, and I buy them on eBay, and I spread it out. This is me searching for answers. Then I rebuilt the truck. I got vacuum troubleshooting. And then upstairs, up at my house, I got books on cutting roofs, and that was a bitch. Roofs is a lot of math and a lot of weird stuff. So maybe I'll put this in the video, maybe I won't. Just try. Try. Don't be scared. But if you're going to work on a vehicle, the last thing I want to say is you got to have another vehicle. When I was a kid, if my car broke down and I didn't get it running that night, well, I couldn't get to work. So in this particular car, I got time to work on it, and I don't have to worry about it because I got a truck and a car. Besides this is just a toy. Maybe one last thing. I'm getting ready to clean this desk off again. This TVV valve I was talking about a second ago, or a minute ago, or an hour ago. There's different temperature ones or something. So I noticed on one on that engine says 79. So make sure if you can find these, you get the right one if you're going to use that. But what I want to talk about, I was talking about the difference between, I don't know if it was last video or a couple of videos ago, but there's single plane intake manifolds and there's double plane. And I was talking about a single plane. Well, here's the difference. I showed it from the top, but I didn't show the bottom. So you can see this is working out 4 cylinders. That's the first plane. So if you dump fuel in there, it's only going to go to 4 planes. And it's also not perfectly, that's why they went to fuel injection, because fuel injection goes right into each, not the fuel injection where you put a carburetor on and it squirts it in the, I forget what they're calling that. But anyway, port injection, you're getting exactly the right fuel. This is why they got rid of this technology, is you put gas in there and it's just not as efficient because it's not squirting at each cylinder. I guess I'm kind of mumbling through this, but so there's the one plane, and there's the other plane. 1, 2. See, this is going up. This is going down to the bottom plane. This thing in the middle, if you look at some manifolds, this piece is a separate piece. This is just a crossover, heat crossover. And as far as I know, there's no water in there. So it's just crossing over from here to here, and it's full of it. That's one of the problems with these EGR valves. It's taking a lot of that unburned gases, but it's not burning them clean again. So this thing's all plugged up. And as I was saying, this hole on top, if that hole right there, the EGR goes here, if that gets plugged up, you're going to have a real problem with your car. So that's one of the things to check, that port right there. Anyway, that's the difference between a single plane and a double plane. We went over the ports. That's manifold vacuum. So just looking at this one more time, this is the 76. It's got one manifold vacuum port. The other ports that they're picking up off the throttle plate. So, and then this is the temperature switch vacuum. So that's all there is on this. and then going to, so there's one. So going over to here, just to recap this. This is the 72. I know I keep going over this. Part of it is I'm trying to get it into my own head. So really this is the same thing. It's got one port. It's in the same place. It's also got the switched vacuum. By the way, that does say 79. I don't know what that, if that's the year. I'm guessing that is the year. So who knows where that came from. So, there's one port in the vacuum. I mean, in the intake manifold. You know, I notice sometimes I say the wrong words. Can't help it. Yeah. Then you got this air cleaner. So let's talk about that. I was thinking about that right now. You got this port coming out of the PCV, positive crankcase ventilation, coming out of the mount in the where the lifters are. Then you have this other one coming out of the valve cover. And I know this goes directly into the air cleaner and it reburns. So you really have two ports for gases, unburned gases. Why there isn't one over here? I guess because I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. But anyway, we know that's the filler cap. But like I said, an engine needs air to breathe. And obviously, these aren't connected because, I mean, or else there'd be oil squirting out of here. The only oil that could come out of here, or unburned gases, would be oil that slipped past the rings or the valves. Whereas this is open all the way down into the, through passages all the way down into the oil pan. I know my videos are all over the place, but I just decided I'm getting ready to clean all this up. Is there a filter in that fuel inlet like it showed in the manual? Again, this was in pieces. Somebody could have took it out. I'm just curious. Should be a filter. It was loose. Should be a filter and a spring and maybe something else. That filter is filthy. So a lot of people put fuel filters right here, and then there's a washer. There's no spring in here. Maybe there's not supposed to be. Again, that's the problem with these manuals. So for the heck of it, I'm going to grab the other carburetor, that new one that was rebuilt. Let's just see if they change the filter. Let's see if we can count on anybody to do what they said they're going to do. There should be a new filter in here. This one has a spring, so we got a new filter. there is a spring. But there's no washer. So what is right? I don't know. I'd have to go to the manual. I guess the spring is to keep the filter tight. Let me just look at this other one again. Why is that washer? Maybe I can use that washer. There's a seat for a washer, so I'm just going to throw it in there. Needs to go down. I can't get my finger in there. Trying to get it all the way down onto that seat. There it is. So I would say just an extra precaution. Keep it from leaking. If it leaks, it could be that washer. It's like a fiber washer. So, save all the old parts. Because you can steal parts from other parts. Don't want to bend anything here. Oops. The biggest wrench I have is 1 inch. I used to have a whole bunch of big ones. I don't know where they went. Just tighten this so I don't forget. Anyway, got one part out of the 76, the original carburetor. So I'm going to clean this table up. I think what I'm going to do next is get this off the engine stand, put it on the engine hoist, maybe clean up some parts, like that thermostat I was talking about, thermostat housing. And I can put this, I kept calling it a flywheel before. Let's see, what's it called? Can't think of the name. It doesn't matter. I'll remember it in a second. Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, while I'm putting this stuff away, I got this one more carburetor. Let's see what's inside of this one. It's loose. I think I feel a spring in here. It's not a bad filter. Small gas, spring. No washer. I wouldn't even call it a washer, I'd call it a gasket. Anyway. my carburetor box if I need any screws. Oh, when I took this choke off, I don't know if I showed it. That screw right there is snapped off. But you can get these housings off. And then there's a choke. Again, here's another vacuum port. Where does that go? I don't know. That's what, still got to figure it out. But now at least we know what the ports do. I just wanted to, I can't help myself, I just wanted to say something else. As I was putting this away, I decided to look at the carburetor number. So it's 17057. This is a 77. This one is 07056. So that 17057. So the fifth number is the year. And it says on the side, Quadrajet, Rochester. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out. And then right below those numbers, there's some more numbers, and I think they're the date it was made. It's about 4 numbers. I can't quite see it. 125, 1296 or something. 1596. 96. I don't know. Couldn't help myself. It's going in the box. One more thing. The other day, or a couple of videos ago, I was wondering how this went in. I was trying to put it in like that. That's how it goes. It's going to go right down into the head. So this is the for this year, or for this manifold, which is a 76. That's it. You know, as I was cleaning up, this rolled out of the box. I'm pretty sure these are the right springs that go on here somehow. I'll put them on later. I think they go back to the bracket that sits here. And the other thing I found was, you know, I said there's a charcoal valve that goes up here. So this valve here is a one-way valve. So this goes on the master cylinder like that. I'm looking at the other car. So I can't blow through that way. So I can through this way. So I'm not sure what that means. Why you would, this is a vacuum tube. And I don't want to suck on this. I guess when you suck on that, it opens this up. But when there's no vacuum, it must close. Yeah, because I can blow through it. Anyway. So on your brake master cylinder, you're going to have a one-way valve. And just going over this one more time as I'm discovering all this stuff. That is a charcoal canister, charcoal filter, because you're sucking manifold gases. We don't want them inside here. But I cannot find where they sell these. But they're probably all the same. It could probably come off any car. I think that's it. I think I'm done showing you all this junk. I'm going back to the air cleaner. just before I put it away. There's parts on that too, so you know, I'm not really into selling stuff because I can't stand eBay. I can't stand selling. But you never know, I might need that part, might need that part, might need that part, might need that part. Might need these clips. I guess that clip is on there. And talking out loud here. So, I'm gonna clean this thing up. Found something under this in this box. As I get cleaning up, that was like that. So now I'm wondering, is this the right one? See, this has a crossover. There's no part number on it, but it does fit. It just has that. So, see if I can find a picture somewhere. Maybe one's right, one's wrong, I don't know. Before I throw this box away, I'm just going to record this right here. When I bought this carburetor, they said they were cleaning out stock, and everything's fuel injection now. So anyway, it's called Automotive Rebuilders Incorporated. There's no .com. Anyway, one more thing. Yeah, I was looking through the some books here. It says the accelerator. This is for 1976. The accelerator pump has been reduced in capacity to improve fuel economy while maintaining adequate cold operation. That's the one I was talking about when you step on it. It'll give you the go, and I'm looking at here, where is it? There it is right there. So, I just have to get a different pump later on. And I'm trying to find a detail on the gasket, and of course there isn't one. So, that's it. I also bought this online. So, again, if you look at it, we're talking about vacuum tubes. Two of the ones, one of them is the canister purge tube, and one of them is the EGR tube. I'm not having an EGR. So if you, but basically that's below the throttle, so that's, like I said, manifold vacuum. It's all here, you just gotta keep looking. It's not all in one place. I did not see it anywhere else except for right there. Anyway, just keep looking and looking and looking. I'm just looking here. Anyway, the battery's almost dead. I'll keep looking for that filter while I'm putting these books away and cleaning up the table. So looking at this assembly manual, I'm putting all the stuff away. Anyway, that's what it is. There's the purge canister. To carb purge pipe. To carb vent pipe. That might be the fitting way up on top. Only place I found this information. Over here using the laser to clean the ID tag. The laser.